Shining Polaris, and I don't think I've done an Impact review. Well, I hadn't done a video period in a while, so anyhow, so I finally just finished watching Turning Point, and just want to say that I could not watch the main event, and that was because during it my feed shut out. So from what I heard, it was mostly the people like me that has Impact Plus that has a problem. But if you were an Impact Insider, which means their YouTube page, then you could see it fine. So I'm very sure like that was a quick problem that they fixed. It's just that I figured I'm just going to do a video first before I watch that. But yeah, whatever. We'll just talk about it. So so when the show started, I was actually at work. So immediately after work, I went home to watch the rest of the show. So I basically watched every match, even at work. I try to watch as much as I can. But I did I missed one match, and that was VBD versus Heath and Rhyno. So that's the only one that I'm not going to talk about because I totally missed that. But yeah, so I'm just going to run down and then maybe my thoughts and recaps. You know, the usual stuff. So, also just want to say this did take place in Vegas, you know, same place that Bound for Glory was, and I was like really close to going to this, but it just could not be in the books because if you couldn't tell, Full Gear just happened last weekend, and that was, every time I go to an AEW pay-per-view, it cost me a lot of money, okay? So going there was a pretty penny, and I just couldn't go to Turning Point so soon right after AEW pay-per-view. So, anywho, yeah. So, first match was Chris Sabin versus Ace Austin. And after Bound for Glory, I was able to watch their match live. And it was a very good match because you have two guys, super talented. They have a very similar offense. And basically, you know, they just had a little feud there. And you have Ace Austin wearing the, you know, I Beat Chris Sabin shirt, which is funny. So this match was, like I said, very similar to the one that I saw. But it was very good. This was a great way to start off the show because it was very, high flying, fast paced, and, you know, two popular guys on the show. But as predicted, Sabin won. Because the first time, obviously, Ace Austin won. That's why he had that funny shirt. So this time, Sabin won because the good guys win at the end. So curious to see what those two will do after this because I assume this feud is over. So Chris Sabin won, and then he wore the shirt. But then he, instead of saying like I beat Chris Sabin, he like put a tape over that says I am Chris Sabin. So I like that. That was cute. Let's see, the next match after this, was it the BBD one? Maybe it was. I think it was. So I didn't watch that. So the next match I did watch, this was, this is supposed to be Brian Myers versus Rich Swan. This was built because Sam Beal was Brian Myers' like student. And he, you know, they started butting heads, and Rich Swan feels so sorry for Sam Beal, so because he knocked Sam Beal out, so Rich Swan says to, you know, Myers like, okay, let's have a match or whatever. But on I think yesterday actually, I think Myers said he couldn't make it to the match, so I really thought this was going to be a way to debut a new wrestler because they already teased that online. And kind of like at Slammiversary when TJP said that he couldn't go to the match with Falaba, it ended up being No Way Jose. So I figured this was the way they're going to introduce their new wrestler, but it didn't end up like that. It ended up just being VSK, who is Brian Myers' top student in their Learning Tree stable, and he faced off Rich Swan. So obviously with, you know, when seeing this, you're like, okay, Rich Swan's going to win it because Rich Swan was the world champion not too long ago, and VSK is very, very new, but regardless, VSK is very skilled, and is that his name, very skilled kicker? Anyway, but so the match was good, regardless whether, you know, I mean, maybe you thought in a second that VSK would would be the job to this one, but the match actually turned out really good. And then VSK had Zicky Dice in his corner. And I really like Zicky Dice, so he's always a very entertaining on the screen. So yeah, like Rich Swan finished the match off with like the perfect what is it, like 450 whatever splash or whatever. I already forgot the name. I'm sorry, but he did that Phoenix Splash, and so it ended the match right there. I really thought this was going to debut a new wrestler, so I was really watching this like with intent. But yeah, so again, it's the same as last time. I'm curious what they're going to do with this. If they're going to continue the feud with the learning tree. I have a feeling maybe because Rich Swan just beated Brian Myers' best student, so we'll just see from there. All right, and then let's see. After this is one of the matches I was really looking forward to. This was actually, you know what? I think I did miss that match too a little bit. No, it was a Morrisay versus Cardona. I did watch a little bit of that. So so this feud was built basically because they were trying to do the #1 contendership thing, and Cardona wants to go for the world title, but it was Morrisay that like screwed him over or something. Not screwed him over. Morrisay don't like anybody, so so I guess that just a little mini feud there. So Morrisay won this, and I really thought it was gonna be Cardona that wins it, because once again, good guys always win at the end. But what Cardona did was he hit his finisher onto Morrisay, which would easily have beaten him, and actually Cardona did pin Morrisay. Now, one of them hit the ref, so even though he had pinned him and the 3 count have already passed, the ref didn't come over to do the count because he was like knocked out in the corner. So as Cardona goes to try to get the ref to count him, Moose comes over, gives Cardona a spear. That basically finishes Cardona. Morrisay gets up, pins Cardona, and Morrisay wins. So this is actually very interesting because you already had Morrisay and Moose kind of like, because they were kind of tag team partners, but they really don't like each other that much, and they were starting to like do a feud because it was Moose that screwed Morrisay over, and he admit that. So with Moose helping out Morrisay here, I wonder, so are they going to be back, like they're going to be friends again? I don't know. So we'll see. And as for Cardona, I guess he'll just have to keep on struggling. But Cardona can never look weak, because he actually loses quite a lot, but he's just so popular. And then me being in the crowd, we're all like, Deathmatch King, he's so over, so it doesn't even matter. And I think Morrisay needs that win more than Cardona. So all right, so after this we had one of the matches I really wanted to see. This was the Knockouts tag team match. This was Inspiration versus Decay for their rematch, and Inspiration came out with their hot, fire looking gear. This was from inspired by the Harlem Heat, so that was very cool. Decay came out just looking awesome as usual, and there was some people online that were saying maybe this is that Inspiration was going to lose it and Decay was going to get it again. I'm like, you know what? Inspiration, they're just, I like them a lot. So they're just such like a cool tag team. Like, even though I know, they just came into Impact and they won the titles immediately, but they're so popular. Like, you need the silly heel team like them to get the championship. But anyhow, so this match was very good. You got everyone in the crowd was cheering for Decay because they're like super popular. But Inspiration, they gave it everything they got to try to beat them again. And there was some crazy moves like near the end. Both Inspiration members like hit a power bomb onto Rosemary from the ring to the floor. It looked very devastating, and it was cool. So Inspiration, they retained their championship just like I thought, And yeah, so that is good. So I'm curious what the knockouts division, a tag team division, will be, because they did lose some tag teams. So either they're going to make some more up, or they're going to. I think they're probably gonna have to start feuding with another tag team. So again, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Let's see. After this, we had the X Division match. This was Trey Miguel, who is the current champion, versus Steve Mclin versus Laredo Kid. And every X Division championship match is always really good, because again, you got very different styles, mostly like high flying, especially in this one. It's always very fast, very hard hitting. So you had Laredo Kid and Trey Miguel that are both, fast and high flying. You have Steve Mclin, who mostly just wants to kill Trey Miguel, but he just has this like very, hard hitting offense. So, I will say that the most interesting part of this match, and which actually confused me a little bit, was at the end. So you had Trey Miguel. He did some crazy. Well, it was Steve Mclin. Steve Mclin onto Laredo Kid. I think he did his finisher onto Laredo Kid, but then Trey Miguel broke it up from jumping from the top rope on top of them. So he sat on both of them for the pin, and at 3, Mclin did kick out, but Laredo Kid did not. So Mclin, you can see he thought that, okay, that he kicked out, the match was still going, but then Trey, looking very confused, he actually won the match because he pinned Laredo Kid. So I have a feeling this feud between Trey and Steve Mclin is going to continue, because Mclin, actually it was both of them, I believe, that said that they never actually like beat each other or whatever. It's because you see this was just because their last match at Bound for Glory was also a triple threat. So and it was Trey Miguel beating ELP, but this one they did another triple threat. It was Trey Miguel beating Laredo. So Trey has never beaten Steve. There you go. So I'm very sure this feud will continue. And how will it end? I'm curious, because I just can't. I don't know. Like Steve is very good, but I just like Trey a lot. I think he accompanies what X Division is all about. So I don't know. I don't know. Is this feud gonna end with Steve winning it? I don't know. But anyhow, that's my take on that. So all right, let's see. Next match. God, I really hope I'm not missing, because I already know the last 3, but we're just gonna go. So next match, this is the Knockouts Championship match. This was Mickie James versus Mercedes Martinez, and I really was looking forward to this match because I really like Mercedes. Again, I was at the Knockdown pay-per-view and Bound for Glory, so I basically have watched every Mercedes match on Impact so far, and Mickie James too, and like I said, those two women are like very talented, and this is a kind of a short feud that they started, but it to me it was still pretty well done, because you got two veterans that like know each other pretty well. So yeah, we'll just talk about what happened after the match, because that's the cool part. So Mickie James, not surprisingly, she retained her championship, beating Mercedes, and so as Mickie was, raising her belt up high, excited that she retained, Deonna Purrazzo, who have not appeared on Impact since Bound for Glory, came in and beat Mickie up. So basically what Deonna said was, okay, she demands her rematch, and that will be at Hard to Kill. So I guess that is the first Hard to Kill match that we got, which will be Deonna versus Mickie. And I know we just saw this at Bound for Glory. But I don't know. I so really I know I'm not the only one that wanted Deonna to continue to be champion, which my belt is right here. So at Hard to Kill, I think she's going to win it back. And I just want her to continue on her reign, because she was such a good champion, you know what I'm saying? So that's cool. So after that, Scott DAmore had a little segment to basically confirm that yes, you know, that they're gonna have that match at Hard to Kill, but he also was saying that they have to have a number one contendership for who, you know, for that knockouts championship, whoever wins it at Hard to Kill. So he announced that they're going to have, the Impact is going to have an Ultimate X knockouts match. So that's cool. So if they did the Ultimate X match at Slammiversary, so obviously that's with all the men for the X division. So they're gonna do one at Hard to Kill with all the women. So that's gonna be really cool. That's, yeah, like Impact, they always do like cool matches like that. All right, and then after that is the match that I wanted to see the most. Right here. This is for my belt, which is right here. This is, and I had my AEW. See that? I didn't even. I was like, oh yeah, it's right there too. Anyway, this was for the Impact World Tag Team Championship match. This is Good Brothers versus Bullet Club, and I have said this several times on my Twitter that I 100% thought that Good Brothers were going to lose, and they're going to lose their title. And my reason for this was, number one, everyone in the lead have lost, and they've been losing. They've been on the losing streak. So I was like, okay, the Good Brothers are the last of the group to still have their belts. And I'm like, okay, I think they're going to lose. Also, because at Bound for Glory, every single title changed hands except for the tag team. So I was like, okay, maybe they didn't do that at Bound for Glory because that would be weird to have everybody lose. Like, that's like, what? Everybody lost? So I was like, okay, to make Turning Point, like, you know, more exciting, I guess, you can have a new champion. So I was like, okay, it's going to be Bullet Club for sure. Because if you hear the crowd, Chris Bay is just like so over right now on Impact. I was like, he is for sure, you know, or Bullet Club was for sure going to win. And I mean, if they did, it would, in my opinion, it would just strengthen that you know, Elite versus Bullet Club feud that they're having. So, but that did not happen. And oh my God, they're gonna have so much heat, which is great. That's the point, right? The Good Brothers won. They retained, and the way they retained was they have. It's odd because the last couple of matches they've been winning with basically a surprise roll up. So I think that is just pissing. First of all, that's definitely pissing everyone off that they're winning like that. But it's definitely pissing the Bullet Club off because I think at the end you had it was Chris Bay and Carl Anderson in the ring. And I think Hikuleo was on the side, ready to do some sort of move onto Carl Anderson, but Doc Gallows was outside. He tripped up Hikuleo, and I think he did that the same time that Chris was trying to do some sort of move. So as Chris was doing that move, that was when Hikuleo fell. Carl Anderson rolled Chris up and they won. And I like how if they win, they just run out of the ring. they don't celebrate in the ring. They just run out. So I just think that's funny. So yes, I know a lot of people are pissed, and I don't care because everyone's like, I hate the Good Brothers and I hate them being champions. But you know what? I don't care. So I am very happy that they retained. And again, I am curious where this goes from here because I'm just hoping this just keeps building up to that ultimate Bullet Club feud that we want. And I'm waiting for more members of Bullet Club to join Impact. So I'm guessing that's what we're building up to. And I keep saying this, that it is going to be God that's going to show up on Impact. I've been saying that since last year. So hopefully that will happen soon. So there you go. That's so Good Brothers retained. And then, oh yeah, I just wanted to add, and I forgot to bring it here, but it's over there, so, but I'm not going to grab it. Someone in the crowd, when the Good Brothers came out, someone in the crowd, like sitting on the Ram side, held up the belt, and what belt did they have? They brought the WWE Raw Championship belt. I was like, good for that guy to troll them, okay? So I said that on Twitter, and someone else was like, yes, I thought I saw that too. That's very funny. Big props to that, for that guy to bring the Raw belts over, which is worth nothing, by the way, so that's why it's hilarious. So there you go. Main event, I could not watch it because Impact Plus crapped out. But it was Moose versus Eddie Edwards, and basically a no disqualification, like hardcore match type deal. I saw the first part of it, and maybe it probably went 5 to 10 more minutes after it cut out. But of course, Moose retained. Why not? And oh, actually, I'm glad I mentioned this last because the biggest part of this show was right before the main event. You had Josh Alexander coming out, and he's once again demanding another world title shot because he thought, he was screwed by Moose, using his call your shot gauntlet thing to beat Josh. But what happened was someone attacked him, and it was the debut of a Jonah, Top Dog. I thought that was very cool. He came in and he killed Josh Alexander. He is a big guy. He reminds me of like a bigger, meaner Samoa Joe, right? He just comes in, beats the hell up of Josh Alexander. Josh is really like bleeding, man, on the ring, and he did a couple of and he's a big guy, so he did a couple of like hard frog splashes onto Josh Alexander, and yeah, I love what they're doing with this. Like, you're gonna have Josh trying to get a world title shot, and instead he has to go through these monsters first before he gets his hands on Moose. So, first he went through Minoru Suzuki, which is crazy, and now he has to go to Jonah, and who knows how many more times he has to go through before he can get to Moose. And we all know that when he finally gets his hands on Moose, he's gonna win it for good. So this is cool. I like what they're doing, because Josh is like their top guy. You have Jonah, who just debuted, going right into a feud with Josh, so that's good. So if you don't know who Jonah is, you're gonna be like, this guy is very strong and important because he's fighting with Josh off the bat. So I like that Impact is doing that. I was very sure we were going to see the debut of Mike Bailey, but we didn't. So that could just be for maybe their next pay-per-view, which is December. So yeah, so there you go. This video is going a little long, especially for Impact. Just had a lot of things to say, and it was kind of rambling at the end. So my take with this was a very good pay-per-view. And this is like a smaller one too. So, it's not like the main four that they had. This is just your Impact pay-per-view. But the bar is kind of set a little bit lower for these. But regardless, this was a pretty good one. I enjoyed it a lot. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you everyone for supporting me on Twitter. My Twitter, I've been getting so many new followers and new friends, so that's really cool. So follow me at Shining Polaris, and then of course on TikTok at Shining Polaris AEW. My next show I will go to will be this Wednesday in Chicago for AEW Dynamite, and I am going to try really hard to go to the next Impact pay-per-view, which is December 18th. So we're going to try to see if I can get there, because this is in Kentucky, so Kentucky is pretty close to where I am from, drivable. So all right, thank you so much guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.